What's going on, everybody? Got an email with a few questions. I'm gonna go ahead and read it, and yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. So, I'm Daniel, and although nothing to do with anything, I'm of Caribbean and Black African origin, born in the UK, but a resident in Australia. Interesting. Has anybody watching this right now, have y'all ever met a black person that has an Australian accent? Now, I'm not talking about the Aboriginals or whatever, the Aborigines, whatever, okay? Yeah, whatever, alright? I'm talking about black people, sub-Saharan, African descent. You know what the fuck I'm talking about. I've never met a black person with an Australian accent. And I know I'm digressing right now, but hold the fuck on. When I lived in Cambodia, I know I preface a lot of stories. When I lived in Cambodia, I went to a little ayahuasca retreat on Rabbit Island off the coast of Kite, Cambodia. And there was a bunch of people there from all around, and one of these ladies was an Australian chick. She was a yoga instructor from Australia. Nice lady. And I asked her, I said, so in Australia, do you have many black people there? And I was just like asking her whatever. And she goes, my Australian accent is terrible, so I'm not even going to attempt it. She's like, you mean African Americans? You mean, she said, do you mean African Americans when I said are there black people in Australia? I mean, maybe African Australians. African Americans only, people take political correctness too far. And this bitch from Australia says, wait, we don't have any African Americans in Australia. Well, no shit, because it's fucking Australia. I digress. The guy asked me a couple questions, and I'm going to touch on this one. I've been getting a lot of emails from people who want to know more about my drumming and like why I stopped and why I'm so passionate about it and blah blah blah, and like who my favorite drummers are and all that type of shit. So I'm just gonna make a video on it. So if you guys are interested, have a seat and shut the fuck up and listen to what I'm saying, please. So he says, what feeling do you get from drumming that's difficult to get from elsewhere? Damn, man. I mean, he asked me that, and he says, for example, I am also a musician. He plays steel pans, like the steel drums, like they do in the Caribbean. That's pretty cool. He says he uses it for escapism, as a form of stress release and to connect with other musicians. He also says, why did you stop before, and how did you plan to get back into playing solo as a band? Well, look, I mean, I pretty much agree with you, dude. I mean, when I play the drums, especially the drum set I used to have, which I'll talk about here in a minute, I feel pretty much anything I say, I'm going to sound like a douchebag. I'm going to sound super pretentious. I feel like I'm in an army of horses traveling to rape and pillage. No, man. I mean, I basically feel like what you said, dude. It's almost like a high for me, and I become obsessed with getting a beat right. Or something that I'm really into on drums is like polyrhythms. And for those of you who don't know what a polyrhythm is, it's when you're doing several different rhythms and timings at the same time. And those are things that I really love to do. Like I'm not just like a basic 4/4 drummer. So when I do it, it's definitely an escape for me, and it's a challenge for sure. And I like to hit things, as you all know, with my kickboxing history and now my drumming history. Like I'm good at hitting stuff, and I like to do it, and I definitely have good rhythm on the drums for sure. This white boy's got some rhythm, mind you. All right, so I just want you all to know that. That's right. And you know, like one of the like you said, man, like one of my favorite parts about playing drums is not just to play it myself, but to play with others. And the thing, the way that I really got good at drums really quickly, the way that my skill just exponentially grew within a short amount of time was playing with accompaniment, with playing with other talented musicians. And that's a great way to get your skills up, and to learn new shit, you know. I mean, because other guys, they just have completely different perspectives on how to play music, and then when you have three different people with three different perspectives and they all come together as one, it's pretty awesome, you know, like when it works, of course. He said, why did I stop before, and how do I plan to get back into playing solo or as a band? Well, all right. So this is what happened. So like when I was between the ages of like 10 years old to 21 years old, I played drums. But when I was in my late teens and then like to the time I was 21, I had this PDP set. It was a 6-piece PDP kit. I had a full rack. I had, I mean, crashes, chinas, splashes, rides. I had gyro blocks. I had jam blocks. I had ice bells, big ice bells, double bass, hi-hat. I had Evans heads, or no, I played the Aquarian heads. I mean, like I had good equipment. I put years and a lot of money into it, and it was like my steel fortress, and it was such a beautiful drum set. So I moved from Virginia down south to Atlanta, Georgia, and I lived there for about a year, and I took my drum set with me. And at the time, I was going to get my own apartment in Atlanta with my good friend, and I needed some quick money. And rather than driving 10 hours from Atlanta to Virginia to drop my drum set off here in this house where I am right now, I just kept it there, and I took it to a Guitar Center just outside of Atlanta. And for those of you who don't know what Guitar Center is, it's basically like the Walmart of fucking musical instruments. Like it's the it's the fucking holy grail of musical equipment. And I took my like $5,000 drum set there, and I got like $820 for it or some shit. And I just remember setting down all my drum shells and my cymbal case and my double bass, my Iron Cobra double bass pedal. Fuck, man. Ah! And I had to walk away, and I don't really hold a lot of regrets in my life. I mean, I don't really regret this, but if I did have one hypothetical regret, it would be that for sure, man. Because I haven't played. I played a little bit with people here and there, and I still have my skill and everything, but it's definitely going to take me time. And in the near future, I plan on having a drum set, and like it's not going to be like what I used to have, of course, but it's going to be enough, and it's going to be a good starting base for me. And how do I get back into playing solo as a band? Well, first step is getting a drum set, and I already know musicians in the area, and they know me. So that's good. And I think that once people hear me play and see that I'm not fucking playing, oh shit, see I'm not messing around, that I'll get some attention with that. And I just like to play by myself too, but a way to get really good is to play with other people. And other people have been asking me who are my favorite drummers, like what drummers have influenced me in my life. Well, number one, it would be my father. My father's not a famous drummer, but if it was not for him being a drummer when I was a young boy, I would have never been introduced to the drum set. I would have never been introduced to that realm. I would have never been introduced to my favorite band, which is Tool. And I'm sure that some people watching like to listen to Tool. And Tool's my favorite band just of my life. Like there's other bands that I listen to a lot now, like Animals as Leaders and other bands that are excellent, and Tool is the most influential force in my life. And Danny Carey is my favorite drummer. And if you guys listen to me play and some of those tracks I put up from my old band, you guys can kind of hear that Danny Carey style, And another guy that I'm a big fan of is, of course, Neil Peart from Rush. I mean, obviously, I'm definitely into progressive metal. A guy I like to listen to is his name is Matt Gartzka, and he plays for Animals as Leaders, and that's one of my favorite bands too, Animals as Leaders. I love Chris Adler from Lamb of God. I'm a big fan of Joey Jordison from Slipknot. I'm a big fan of Carter Buford from the Dave Matthews Band. I like the Dave Matthews Band, don't like Dave Matthews. His fucking voice can't do it. Just on a side note. And there's various other drummers I like. I mean, all the way from funk and jazz to rock to metal to to tablas. Fuck. And one thing I did when I sold my drum set down in Atlanta, I tried to like make up for it by getting some hand drums. I bought tabla drums, which are like the Indian like the Indian drums, right? And I got 2 of them, and I need a fucking drum set, guys. All right, so anyways, I just thought I'd talk about that if anybody was interested. I do appreciate the questions, Daniel, man. Thanks. And I've never heard of a black African origin guy from Australia. That's pretty cool, man. So, anyways, guys, if you want to shoot me an email, nojokestriking@gmail.com. Bitches, Instagram @Brayton Howard. I regularly post my artwork on there and just whatever else I'm doing. If you guys do want to send me a donation, go towards my drum set just to be nice. PayPal, and I use nojokestriking@gmail.com. If you guys don't want to send me a donation, don't fucking do it. Anyways, y'all, peace.